Pete Dog.
Oh, whoops. There we go. Now my earphones are plugged in. They were not all the way in the jack.
Pete Dog.
This is Malone. Happy Monday, or however the Monday finds you.
Now, this is a good Monday. It's a good Monday.
Good.
It's a great Monday. How was the weekend?
It was chill. Same as the rest of
them. You didn't do nothing special with your Monday?
I completed my Korean bankruptcy filing paperwork today.
Nice. That's it, huh? That's what you did with your Saturday and Sunday?
Yes.
Not eventful at all. Are you drinking anything? Or are you sober today?
Well, I did come through with the Cuban coffee and the Zaya Trini rum. So, you know.
Coffee and rum. Coffee and rum.
It's nice. I didn't have time to shake it up. I got a little behind schedule, so it's stirred instead of my regular Martinez.
Man, No Sitters Live, the lunch hour, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Pacific Standard Time. Right here on the Digital Soapbox Network. Click the thumbs up button. Let everybody know you in the house. We do this stream to market the No Ceilings podcast. It's a link below. Check it out. Apple Podcasts,
cool podcast.
iHeart Podcasts, or anywhere you get your podcast from. No Ceilings Podcast, executive produced by Charlemagne the God, Black Effect Network, and iHeart. Some of these streams end up being so good. That they end up being on a Tuesday stream, the Tuesday podcast feed. Like the last one was what we talked about the stuff Slim Thug was wrong about. That ended up being so good, and it ended up doing like incredible numbers.
Seriously?
Yeah. So some of these streams end up being good, like really good on another level. You know what I'm saying? And they end up making the feed. But I usually don't try to give the anybody who sit at the lunch table or nobody who like No Ceilings. I usually try to give them a unique piece of content for that Tuesday or tomorrow.
Sure.
Shout out to everybody at the lunch table already. V, what up? Squish, Lit, what up? Cause I'm proud of you. Them songs is fire. And that's where you got to be at. Bubbly Brown Sugar, Hustler Life, what's up with it? What's your take on Fat Joe disrespecting Lord Jamar and FBA's Hustler Life 44? We talked about that.
So, yeah, please refer to previous episode.
Yeah, we talked about that probably about 7 streams ago. I didn't like Fat Joe obviously using the term black radical racist. That just was crazy. And I didn't like him referencing bunch of broke niggas right after saying radical black racist. Those two things just kind of were like red flags. That just kind of, made me lift a brow. It's like, what's going on?
I saw the clip. It sounded like he was referring to like 3 guys, like however many people are in that group.
Yeah.
At first, like when we did the show originally, I thought he was talking like to the masses. Because I hadn't seen it.
Well, he was definitely talking about the specific guys, but even that, it's not.
I know what you mean, though.
Yes, it's not like you probably still shouldn't use that term. You know what I mean? It's just craziness. But we talked about that a while ago, and that we done with that. What I was thinking about today is I'm working on this really great idea. We've talked about this on previous episodes of this stream. Where should hip hop go now? What should the art look like now? Should the art be totally influenced by the history of records, when it comes to 70 years ago? Or should the records look a lot different because a lot of people, they're consuming music through different mediums? Remember, the record is a reflection of a piece of vinyl, or CDs or cassettes. That's where that term comes from. And those create the borders, the margins, and the boundaries. You know what I mean? As well as wherever the economy is at that time when it comes to music. And as I'm working on what's going to be the first release from my weekly releases, like this is why I want you to get on Twitter, because I want to have a weekly discussion about the releases.
Gotcha.
Right. And some of these releases are going to demand big conversations, like the first one. The first one is really, really good, and it's going to demand like a lot of conversation. I was talking to my homeboy Will. Will used to run he ran a label up in the Bay, SMC. SMC was a really popular independent record label up in the Bay. And Will is like a genius. Will actually manages Killer Mike. You know what I mean? Okay. And you can see what he's able to help Killer Mike do with his career. So Will is like somebody I trust their opinion on hip hop, you know what I mean, with another level, because he understands it from his true essence of art and just being uniquely creative. And he was saying something to me about this particular song, and he was like, man, this is really highbrow hip hop. Highbrow hip hop. That was the specific term he used.
Yeah.
And he was saying the idea needed some lowbrow points. Like I had to mix TMZ with the idea. Now that doesn't mean rearranging or rewriting the record or, you know what I mean, flipping the lyrics and none of that. It means the average listener probably needs an explosion at the beginning of a film, especially the people who listen to hip hop, which I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that. You know what I'm saying?
Like that, that being putting the explosion at the beginning of the film, or the idea
the
that
hip hop listener is like a lowbrow.
Gotcha.
Intellect. You know what I'm saying? Like they not trying to hear something too deep. I don't want to believe that. And that's not what he said, but that's the take. But I have to give credence to it, like in just entertainment in general. You know what I mean? So like I wrote this piece that's hella like detailed. You know what I mean? I was totally inspired by like the Godfather film. Yeah, I'm not even into it, but I realized what was great about it. So I wrote a hip hop version of it through storytelling with this idea. And I'm starting to figure out like, how do I create lowbrow moments? And I noticed the whole time, none of my hip hop has been lowbrow. Like the closest lowbrow hip hop moment I have is probably like That Good. Everything else has nuance. Like it's entirely too much of my music with nuance.
Sure.
And it's funny to me that like I'm trying to figure out how to make it to where everybody can stay aboard the length of a story. Like it's different when I write in traditional format of 2-verse or 3-verse, the standard that everybody's used to listen to. It's another thing when you take it like further, you really create an experience. Like you want music to be the experience that it should be for people. Like you asking somebody to partake and enjoy this art.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mr. Handsome. This is Glasses. Shout out to Mikey Sears. Yeah, Scarface. Made is my favorite Scarface album of all time. Never is my life's creed. Like Never is my life's creed. GNX is probably now just in my top 5 life's creed. It's one of the 5 songs they had to play at my funeral, but Never is for sure the song they had to play at my funeral. So much love. Revenge, what up, dog? What's up, though? We gonna be listening. Yeah, I got you. I'm impressed. Go ahead, Peter. I'm sorry.
To say, a good example of this concept of this particular dichotomy to try to expand and maintain audience attention would be how, say, for example, on the campaign trail, you see Kamala Harris go out and talk about various healthcare initiatives or economic, type of wealth redistributive concepts, and then insert Meg the Stallion's twerking into the middle of the conversation, and then go back to the same complexities immediately thereafter, and then back to more twerking again. It didn't work for her, but that was what the general goal was.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's cheap when it's like that.
It might be.
And I don't know if that works. I mean, obviously she didn't win the election, so no, it didn't work. But I'm saying it's like, how do you affect?
But it's an honor to be nominated.
Like I don't believe people can dumb down. Like when people say that, they're fucking lying.
Yeah, I mean,
I think you can only speak the language that people understand, and I don't think it's in reference to dumbing down.
Yeah, when people can't successfully dumb down, you know. This is interesting though, because like my like my vision for if I was going to create my own content is completely dedicated to like weaving this braided scenario here seamlessly, because I want to do conversations about finance and relationship dynamics interwoven into how you have to perceive the two so similarly.
I like that.
Like pussy interest rates.
But you know what's funny? There's a film called I forgot the name of the damn movie, but it's with these white boys and they take a trip. So this guy thinks a tape of him sleeping with another girl, right?
Is this the movie Road Trip or something?
Where it was accidentally mailed to his girl.
Yeah, with Tom Green being all weird.
Yes, Tom being excellent. Yeah, Tom Green was excellent. So okay, yes. So in that film, he teaches the main character. One of the character teaches another character, math through wrestling. That's why I'm saying dumb.
Oh, yes.
The definition of dumb is you're unwilling to speak or temporarily unable to speak. Mm-hmm. So the concept of dumbing down is just dumb. But how do you put
down?
Huh?
How about stupiding down?
I don't know if you can stupid down, man. I just don't think I don't think you can stupid down. I think you can only speak somebody's language.
Sure.
Like stupid is like where you're saying somebody doesn't have the ability or the intellect, right? Or what you would say is a like they don't have the intellect. But again,
well, like Disney does that successfully in a lot of their more modern cartoons, where they have the bracket of the content that's very simple, that's designed for the children's attention, and then they have jokes that children don't get that are later on top for the parent to have to sit through the movie to watch with the kid also.
Like I be thinking about Jay-Z saying dumbing down, like as an audience member, like he got popular when he dumbed down, and I'm like, that's just disingenuous. That's not what happened. Like he just got better with making records.
Yeah, I mean, I think two things are true simultaneously. There are certain just barriers of access, mentally in general with just people. Just people aren't all the same. But there's also just your strength as a communicator to effectively utilize your medium to convey the message you want.
That's what I'm looking at. Yeah. That's what I'm looking at. The strength as a communicator. Shout out to Moo. First time seeing you at the lunch table. Welcome to the lunch table. G Malone, you're pro rappers who aren't good at rapping. No, like I don't listen to. So this is. I just was saying this Moo on this ADHD in this community town hall discussion that they were having on ADHD on Clubhouse. I was telling them like I'm into like hip hop is culture. I don't listen to see if you're a sophisticated writer. I wouldn't listen to a rapper to see who's a sophisticated writer. I can read, so I don't need you to speak. So when I listen to hip hop, I'm looking for culture. Like we were talking about different artists, and I was telling them like specifically Wiz Khalifa, right? Shout out to Wiz, shout out to the homie Breeze, who was his main security guard. Breeze, my low good brother. Feel me? I was saying that I really don't listen to Wiz like that. I've heard enough Wiz songs because he has huge songs, but I haven't really heard probably more than 10 Wiz songs. And
we're in the same boat.
Right. But that's not to say I don't want to work with him as an act or none of that. I'm just saying listening. When I listen to hip hop, I understand I am listening for culture. So I'm listening for a specific flavor, a specific lingo, a specific get down. You know what I mean? A specific lifestyle displayed right through the song. Now, whether you use a level of double entendres or, you know, the wittier way you get it across, I can respect that as well. But I'm really listening for culture. So when I'm listening to a New York rapper, if he's not using words that come from outside his front door, you know what I mean? I'm probably not really listening for it. Like I'm not really listening. You know, maybe it's because, you know, I read, you know what I mean, or I'm intelligent, but I'm not really listening to see if you smart as a rapper. Like I wouldn't go to a rapper to listen to a smart person as a writer. I would probably find a book.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That makes
I've
sense.
wrestled with this topic a bit, and I'm like, people who like gain massive, profound stuff out of it, I'm like, oof. And it's not even a reflection of the listener or the writer. It's just the delivery apparatus is very limited. You don't have a lot of words. You're confined to like bars, rhymes, all that. Like
I feel trapped. I feel trapped as a storyteller every day. That's why I know my stay in hip hop is not, you know, my stay as making rap records is probably not that long anymore because like it's too restrictive. Like I can't tell the story the way I would like. Like right now, this is the conversation we're having right now.
It's like, you know what it's kind of like? What an extreme version of it is? I never like got into this shit, but I know what it is. Like, you know, like haiku, like the Japanese poetry that's like 12 words or some shit.
Yeah.
It's 12 fucking words. You can only do so much.
Yeah.
It's people making a lot to do about nothing. It's 12 fucking words.
Yeah. So, and but that's the point, right? It's like my hip hop or my intellect is highbrow, right? Or to people, it feel like that. I don't think so. I think I could speak to a person sitting in front of a liquor store drunk that don't know anything, or I could speak with, you know, the smartest man in the world. Like it's all the ability to communicate.
It's like the people's eyebrow. One eyebrow's down here and the other one's way up here.
Yeah, but
it's high, but it's for the people.
Yeah, sure. But the point is, so again, they was asking me about Mac Miller, and I'm like when I listen to Wiz is like more like stoner culture, like stoner. Like I don't smoke weed.
Same.
You know what I'm saying? I don't smoke weed. That was a big barrier for you. I'm not necessarily into stoner culture, and it's not like I said. He's a fantastic act, and I would work with Wiz obviously, but I'm not into it. And I was explaining to them that when I digest hip hop, minus the adult or the child of it, I'm looking for the culture. Like I'm a huge fan of Chief Keef, Finally Famous. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a fan of like Chief Keef, Finally Famous, because I listen to hip hop for the culture. You know what I mean? I don't listen to it to really, like I said, to see how smart you are. Like, right? I'm listening for you to display this artistic style of culture through this record. Yeah. That's it. You know what I mean?
There was a period of time where like my favorite rapper for a few years was Devin the Dude.
Yeah.
And you compare like, and this isn't a shot at Wiz, it's just an exploration of content manifestation. But like Devin or Cypress Hill, for example, all three of those guys are very weed centric. They're much more, Cypress Hill maybe less so compared to the other two, but it's really a lot about weed. That's a lot of their core audience base and all that kind of stuff. Sure. But you just get a lot of different other things in different ways from the other two. And Devin and Cypress are different from one another as well. But I felt like this is just a lot of weed shit when I listen to Wiz. Whereas when I listen to those other two guys, it's like there's a lot of weed shit in here, but there's a lot more,
Yeah.
also.
Yeah. So, and I was saying the thing about Mac Miller, like Mac Miller looked out for the homeboy Q, like Schoolboy Q. That like he near and dear to my heart because he looked out for Schoolboy Q. But when I listen to the records, like I don't really get the coach. I don't get culture from him. So I'm not tripping. Like it's, you know what I mean? I need something. Like when I listen to Eminem, he gives me my imaginary thoughts on what trailer park life is coming up for somebody in the inner city. That's what I get from Eminem. That's why I listen to him. I don't listen to him because how well he puts words together. Yes, but only in regards to him displaying the culture of the culture of this background, right? That's why I listen to him. Like the first time I saw him, you know what I mean? He was drinking his grandmother's liquor in a trailer park. His grandmother, as a kid, catches him and slaps him upside his head. He runs out and he comes back as a grown up, and he's choking his grandmother. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like him shooting the video in a trailer park, sitting outside in a wadding pool, drinking a beer. Like he kind of gave, America the stereotype of what we think about poor white boys, poor white trash that come up in the inner city. Not necessarily country poor white trash, like let's say like the homie from the South.
Or like Bubba.
Not Bubba. Bubba kind of got the accent of poor white trash, but that ain't really the
you
other
mean
dude.
like one of the singers?
No, he's a rapper. I'm talking about. He was signed to Eminem. But he's more like, to me, just from the outside looking in, he's more poor white trash.
Sure.
Yellow Wolf. Shout out to Revenge. Oh. Yellow Wolf. Yeah. Like Eminem gave inner city poor white trash.
Sure.
Like punk rock as a rapper. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I fell in love with. You know what I'm saying? I fell in love with somebody, you always heard stories of white kids having problems with their moms. He fed into the stereotype that people really didn't know. You know what I mean? People really didn't know. Shout out to Joey Westside for moderating. Thank you, Squishy and Joey, for moderating. Make sure y'all hit them likes. Like the homie said, this is No Ceilings Live, the lunch hour, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Pacific Standard Time right here on Digital Soapbox. Click that thumbs up button. It says 68 people, 15 likes. It's 400 people watching between Facebook and Twitter, and it's only 15 likes. So please click that like for me.
What? We got 385 deadbeats? Jesus Christ.
Well, some people can't click the like because some people on Twitter, some people on Facebook. But everybody on YouTube click
now,
the like.
I'm on like browser YouTube, so it's like I'm not signed in. I'm like, whatever. I can't like anything.
So the point I'm saying is, a shout out to everybody at the lunch table. What up, Ryan? Appreciate you checking in. TLR Sounds, what's happening? Lawrence, what's the deal? Shout out to Lucky Lawrence. I love how Killer Mike wrote out his last album with emails. The only piece missing was a more nuanced first-person narrative annotation around the art that could be achieved beyond social media. I'm not mad at that. Shout out to Name Brand. Isn't that just authenticity? No, because like you can authentically be a dentist, right? And then make a rap song about being a dentist, but you're not telling me the culture of being a dentist. Like what gets lost in hip hop for some reason is people think it's them telling their own story. No, it's you telling your story as a functioning part of this whole infrastructure we call whichever culture you're from. So it's your story within that, your story in relations to this.
And I think a separator with a lot of rappers is their ability to tell, I'll use the first person, my story versus our story.
That's
people who tell our story do a lot better than the people who tell my story.
And I think that's the difference between pop music and hip hop.
Sure. Well, I don't even know if pop music's they're just telling a story.
but that's the concept of my story. And then people relate. Versus hip hop has always told our story through a first person lens.
Yeah.
And it's still a very small group of people that has this story, and then other people outside of it relate to it. They still or they register it to their own world. So it's weird when I was thinking about that highbrow and lowbrow things. You know what I mean? When it comes to hip hop, and it's like how do I make it to where the listener that is not impressed with words or just music can stay along for the ride until it's like the film Transformers. I always looked at the Transformers films when they start making them, they would have these really big, crazy initial scenes, but the story would be so long, right, that I would always fall asleep in the center. You know what I mean? Like I would always fall asleep. And I went and seen two of those movies in the movie theater. In both movies, I fell asleep right in the center. Then I woke up and here's the action. So I as working on this 110 album that's gonna come out in March, April with the homies, it's like I realized I had to separate it into two playlists to make the art still be like correct, because it would have been like 17 songs. Sure. And it starts to drag. The idea starts to be repetitive.
And there's always been a separation in the genre between your commons and your do or dies or whatever, just to put it as locally as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't think either one of those guys are lowbrow.
Me neither. And do or die is not a great example, but it's like, I would say common is distinctly highbrow, and there's,
well, I wouldn't even say
there are your Sexy Reds of the world.
I think common is highbrow only. It's hard to explain, right? It's like common is somebody who embraced hip hop at its origin, right? And then he just interjected himself and his perspective through lyricism.
Sure.
Does that make sense? Is that fair to say? Like Common is somebody who saw hip hop at its origin, right? Whether we talking about, Sugar Hill, Melly Mel, Houdini, so forth, and he injected himself and start giving his lyrical perspective over the same plate.
One other kind of, and it's maybe not to put it as highbrow or lowbrow, but like there was gaining separation over time between the two members of Outkast that resulted in two separate CDs in the same album.
Say that one more time.
There was kind of, as time went on, a gaining separation in styles within Outkast that resulted in two separate CDs in the same album ultimately at one point.
Well, before we go that far, let's back up right here. What Do or Die did is different. So Do or Die took hip hop, and then not only did they create it from the lyrical perspective of representing the culture of Chicago and its rich history in R&B and blues as it's interjected into how they rap, right? But they also took the music that mattered culturally in Chicago, and then they rapped over it.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the same thing with NWA versus Death Row. NWA is, to me, I always say Dr. Dre is looking at Marley Marl, right? And he's making records, right? Based off of his own version of what Marley Marl did.
Yeah.
Right? His background with, I think it's fair to say, his background with World Class Wrecking Crew, coming from this R&B kind of group. Shout out to Alonzo and all of those guys. And then they started rapping, right? Their cultural perspectives over kind of the same style that Marley Marl, versus when they get to Death Row, they start to foundate the same culture of how West Coast do, the lifestyle that fits the lifestyle into the music a lot more.
Can you do me and the audience a quick favor?
Sure.
Can you call on speakerphone Killer Mike and see if his opinion is such that Killer Mike vis-a-vis Fat Gucci Mane is a dichotomy of highbrow versus lowbrow hip-hop, in his opinion?
I doubt he would say that.
He probably wouldn't say it.
Well, because
I think it.
Look at hold on, I'll call him. Let me see. Let me call Killer Mike.
He was a
I
nice
don't-
guy. That's one of the only guys from out there I ever met before. He came on the spot. Not a cool guy. I was
My
like, this
man
guy's way
hold it
cooler
down.
than I thought he was going to be.
Hold up. I don't think he's gonna say that because Mike is like me, where he understands culture. So he's gonna understand. Mike, what's up, baby?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Real quick, I got you on my stream
Like
for you to get
artistically.
going.
Okay, what's up,
Not
everybody?
culturally.
So-
Black Power.
Okay, real quick. My man. Look, okay, look. Me and Pete is having a discussion right on the stream, and he's asking, would you consider Gucci Mane to your type of hip hop, right? Lowbrow versus highbrow. I told him I don't think you would because culturally you understand what Gucci Mane does, and that's what makes him.
I'm meaning more artistically than culturally.
They look at hip hop as low hanging fruit anyway. When you talk about hip hop, comedy, any on the artistic platform, they look at us as lowbrow. But if it was that lowbrow, anybody can do it. And I'm here to tell you, I can't just do what Gucci Mane does stylistically.
That's how I feel about YG. I'll be like,
Great
I
point.
cannot do that.
It's a great point.
Style and nuance. It's style and nuance in terms of confidence, in terms of breath control and wordplay. People think wordplay and breath control is just the complexities of it. But just when you look at what Gucci was able to do, what Jeezy was able to do, what that level of trap rap was able to do, and not even comparing them in terms of the slang, the ability to pause and let the audience get the line takes a certain confidence. Because usually you're overplaying the words because you want people to understand the mastery of words you have. But part of the mastery of words is mastery of emotion. It's like watching an opera singer try to, out opera Whitney Houston and her just get up there and flutter and play with it. That's real on YouTube. Watch what Whitney Houston did to opera singer. But I don't consider it lowbrow at all. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And if it is, if you look at the popularity of it, that just means our people are at a lowbrow. They like that type of rap. You know what I mean? They like that. When you go to church, you can hear wailing with no words in it, but everybody in their church know what that wail is on. So it's a vibration that our community needs. So I don't see it as lowbrow.
Exactly. My man, I'm on you. I'm gonna hit you when I'm done.
He's got to be on the show more often.
Love you, Loco. No, but I feel the same way about YG. Like people that talk to me like YG is not dope, and I'm like, nigga, that nigga is brilliant. Like, listen, it goes back to the initial thing that I was saying, right? Hip hop is the cultural movement, right? Street urban cultural movement through the arts. So it's not about how well you write as much as the job is to convey the street urban culture you represent through the arts. Now, however you could do it, if your wit is in a ton of words, if your wit is in the style, the draw, you know what I mean? Long as you accomplish it, right? Long as you accomplish it, that's the job. The job is to convey street urban culture artistically through these measures. So somebody like YG to me really takes a lot of, like, people feel like it's low brow, but I think it's like ingenious, like it's brilliant, and you can't emulate it. You know what I mean? You can't emulate it. Like, I couldn't go make a record like YG to save my life. Like, and I'll be honest, like my first gold record that I ever got was inspired by something YG and Ty Dolla $ign was doing. Like, I couldn't still do what they do. Problem was doing it. There was a time YG and Problem were both killing the club. Like, you would go to the club and they had every
when I was going to the club.
And I remember of being so like jealous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, damn, like everybody, it didn't matter that I had songs on the radio and hit records that people could hear. But when they would play my song, people didn't dance anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I wanted that so bad, and I realized how challenging it was, and what I had to do to get it. So when I made that good, that's inspired by YG, Ty Dolla $ign, you know what I mean, and what Problem was doing. Like, that's inspired by those guys. So it's, again, once you understand hip hop is not about who puts the words together the best. It's about artistically expressing street urban culture, and the more people you can express it to that they can get the culture, the more successful the art is.
But I think also, like, in all fairness, you're looking at this comparison from the creator's standpoint. and it's probably something that's being presented, even though the individual that brought it up is a creator. This type of a conversation is largely being, it caters to the recipient standpoint. So like all that goes into creating a successful record and talent, je ne sais quoi, all these various factors. Like there's all kinds of stuff that could make that or break that. It really just comes down, I think, more so to like subject matter, topic matter, not necessarily delivery apparatus, your ability as a communicator, etc. Like, I mean, they say like Ronald Reagan was the great communicator because of the manner in which he spoke. I don't think anybody says he's the greatest intellect in the history of the office, but he understood how to convey messages and the nonverbals within the verbals. And some people have that, some people don't. Some people can develop it, some people can't. But I think this usually highbrow, lowbrow is more so what's being said than how it's being said.
But I don't even know if that's true. Like, it's like when we go into conscious. First off, shout out to Rio. Much love, brother. First time seeing you at the lunch table. I don't know if you've been here before, but it's my first time seeing you. So what's up with you? So Rio says, so there's no lowbrow. So this hip hop thing has no objectivity. It's all subjective. This is how nothing becomes whack or lowbrow. Okay. No,
I like
there
that, guys.
no
I like your perspective. I like.
No, there's no lowbrow, right? Because whack is subjective. Whack is subjective. Whack is based off what you like and what you don't like.
But in the broader sense, it's based off of the aggregated subjectivity. So it becomes a bit of a
or the masses, you're saying.
Yeah.
But how can we say someone who's selling more records, the masses are validating what they have going on?
That's where this conversation really takes flight, because there's the assumption that the masses are going to consume a thing. It's like you see this sometimes, like at the Academy Awards, like movies and shit. The best movie of the year rarely wins the Academy Award. The most artistically, viable movie of the year wins the Academy Award. So but it doesn't make as much money as the other one. So there's always going to be that kind of strain within the arts between the artsy people and their expectation and the basic consumer and their desire to be entertained.
I was thinking about that. It's funny you said that. I was thinking about that on YouTube. Like we try to use YouTube to, like we treat YouTube like MTV. MTV play music videos. YouTube is about you entertaining, using your music to entertain and expose people to the records. And I think that's an important thing, to separate. Like, don't think of, like when we make a song and we want to market a song as a rapper, first thing we do is we try to go make a music video, right? But then the actual medium that made that popular and why you did that really doesn't exist to any level of influence. Like MTV, the music videos on their channel don't have influence. So we like, okay, well, we're going to take the music video and then put it here. But if it doesn't have the medium, the time and space that the world was at, all of that created the value for the music video as a means to market a record.
Sure.
But if we actually, as artists, if we go back in and say, okay, YouTube has different, margins, parameters to create, and people go to YouTube to be entertained and informed. So if I take the same record and I create ways to entertain you with the record or inform you with the record, you know what I'm saying? Then that's doing the same thing of exposing you to a record.
Sure.
Shout out to Rio, who's killing the lunch table with some great questions. My man Rio. So when rappers say they're setting the bar, that means it isn't subjective. It means there has to be something that is whack regardless of subjectivity. No.
Well, subjectively, that's how they feel.
Subjectively, that's their opinion. Exactly. Shout out to Jello Ball. That's true. Shout out to my brother Name Brand. Jello Ball, Lonzo brother got a hit record right now, and I don't know if it's a joke or not. It's not, and it's a fantastic record. Like, I've been listening to it. Like I heard the Drake freestyle. Once I realized the Drake freestyle was about the Drake freestyle was about it's called the Fighting Irish freestyle, and it's about LeBron James. It just became lame because it's like, bro, he doesn't make rap songs. Like you're dissing him, and you like, I'm gonna expose you to the
He went to go
masses. Like,
diss LeBron James.
yes,
It's
bro.
a
And
little
he's
out of
like,
purview, isn't it?
and his threat is like, I'm going to tell everybody what you've been doing, like as if like maybe you knew he slept with a woman and you're gonna tell his wife. It just got lame, and it's like he's so, and that's a perfect example of somebody who's really excellent as a writer, right? As a rapper, right? But culturally, like blank. You know what I mean? To where he don't understand what's cool culturally to say. Like the movement of us, what to say. And it's like he'll take something like that. That freestyle was like, I was like, damn, he whined a little, but I thought he was really clever with the things, how he was doing it. And I thought I was kind of like impressed. And sure as shit, man, more information leaked out about it. And then it's like about the Fighting Irish freestyle, and it's about LeBron. Bro, that's lame. And that's the thing about hip hop for sure. Hip is anti-lame. So it's like, that's the same shit that I realized that hip hop is about culture. So it's like when you do some shit that's like a no-no in the culture, like to allude, to threaten to another man, I'm going to tell somebody you're sleeping with, oh, you're cheating on your wife, or I know business about you. That just ain't cool culturally. Now, if two people are rapping and they speaking each other business and this is what they're doing, cool. But not a nigga who plays basketball that you got tattooed on your. It's just a weird dynamic. And
sorry, what was that last part?
He has LeBron tattooed on him.
Did LeBron make love to him?
No.
That's very strange then.
And it's like, you know what I mean? And I get it. His fan base feel like I'm hard and I'm just doing this because Kendrick Dot is my friend. And it's like, bro, no, that's just not cool, bro. Like, fuck. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to find a space to where I'm not, you know, like, because I don't like that people feel like I don't like him. That's starting to bother me. Like, that's never been my goal in these hip hop discussions, is about if I think somebody's talented or I like them or dislike them. Yeah. So I've been trying to kind of like really start ignoring more of it. But like when he just do some fucking dumb ass shit, cuz that shit just be the worst, bro. It's like you gotta know this not cool. Like, why is Chubb and Baca cuz not telling you, cuz that's not cool in this position, in this predicament?
This is like why his career is imploding immediately, because he went from being flawed but likable to now flawed and easy to dislike. And he has made that transition abruptly.
And it's like, somebody asked me the other day, specifically speaking on Cuz, and it was like, do you think he has comeback? And I'm like, bro, that dude is talented beyond, but he's so culturally like anti what it is, bro. Like, that is like, he's going to keep fucking it up.
Yeah. He needs to almost go into production and writing and find another artist to like say the shit he writes for him or something for a few years.
Shout out to Rio. Man, you cooking, Rio, bro. We enjoying the food. Go on, cook, bro. Rio
I
says,
love the air quotes around the word sensitive. That's great.
Say that again.
Putting air quotes around the word sensitive is great. The word sensitive shouldn't even be able to be written without quotation marks.
I thought Drake was accepted into hip hop because he was introspective and sensitive. That was his whole MO. So he was saying in that heart on your sleeve lane, staying in that heart on your sleeve lane. That's how I took it, at least.
And he kind of moved beyond that. He went from being like,
Yes, that's
My
what happened.
heart hurts to like I
Yeah.
got all these bodies.
Yes, that's true. So it's like, yes, you accepted it. And I agree. At first, you did kind of see him. Him being accepted in the hip hop is a different thing. Hip hop is not something you're accepted in, right? It's like street urban culture, like him being accepted into the culture itself, not the art, is different. He was accepted into the art because one, he signed to probably one of the greatest, hip hop labels of all time in Cash Money Records. Um, and also he's just uber talented, like uber sharp. Like he is a record making monster, bro. And he's not, his pen is really like he's sharp, bro. The nigga's sharp. Like he can write, but he took it too far and it went from him just being like Name Brand says, back to his point, his authentic self or the people like him, that movement, into like the same space as everybody else in hip hop, where it's like, oh yeah, now it's not about the girl that broke my heart. Now I'm out here breaking hearts. Now I'm out here hurting people. Now I'm out here and da da da. Like he went past the art and started to emulate the culture itself, like, or what his impression of the culture.
Sure.
And it's like, obviously, there was people like me the whole time, like, that's not that guy. So I never bought that part of it. You know what I mean? But I think there is a space out there in the world that people bought that part of it. They was like, oh yeah, he's really on that timing. Like,
Yeah.
So it's like, I think now we're at that space now where, again, the veil has been stripped and you realize this is the same guy who he started with. And now, things he would have never did in the middle of his career. He would have never did this in the middle of his career.
Sure.
You know what I mean? He would have never did this. People talk about the Meek Mill battle. People talk about the Meek Mill battle, but I agree with Name Brand in the sense that he approached that battle from a very authentic standpoint, like, oh, you're the tough guy and I'm just a cool guy and I'm kicking your ass, versus in the Kendrick battle where he was talking as tough as the locals.
Sure. But I mean, even with that, he's not the cool guy. Like that's the thing that always irritated me about his little fan base and shit, basically bitches. It's like, as soon as you throw some fame and some money on this guy, now all of a sudden he's a Casanova. Like, get the fuck out of here. You fucked $100 bill no matter who's holding it. Like, knock it off.
So, but back to the point, it's like that goes back to that same thing where the writing, like his writing and his record making is amazing, right? But the cultural element of it, you know what I'm saying? The cultural element of it is so like voided. Like there's a void there. And so he doesn't quite get what's hip. You know what I mean? Like, where it's like, you can't say that about LeBron James. Like, hey, like if I come out on a rap record, it's one thing if I'm talking to another rapper. And even then, it's weird to even, like, it's one thing. Here's a perfect example. Him saying that about Kendrick is cool. Like, that's part of the battle. Oh, you parade yourself around as this honorable guy, but you've been cheating on your wife. That's all within the battle of throwing mud, whatever. I never even thought about that like that, right? I didn't even trip. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, okay. What? Like, I get the shot. Like, okay, I get the shot at his character. That's another person you're battling, right? Cool. But to say you're going to do it to LeBron James, it's just weird. LeBron doesn't rap. That's like, y'all don't really have, you're upset with him based off of him enjoying music.
What's LeBron going to do back to you? Shoot a jump shot at you?
Yeah, like you get what I'm saying? And then, like you're saying, but this goes back to that lowbrow, highbrow point that I'm saying, where it's like that's why like somebody could look at YG and automatically think something incorrect, but I understand the brilliance culturally that he provides, which is why like Mike wouldn't ever say Gucci is lowbrow, because Mike is a Southern nigga. Like I am a West Coast nigga. So when I look at YG, I'm jamming YG shit like it's as good as Ice Cube shit. Because culturally, he's conveying the thought. Like the art is coming through coach. Like his art is giving off the culture, right? So it's no lowbrow, highbrow. But for me, it's a different challenge because I am using words, right? And I'm not playing the pauses, right? Like I do have a level of IQ. So sometimes you can outthink yourself too. You know what I'm saying? So it's a weird space to be in.
Yeah.
So trying to please the thought is the challenge for me with Will. You know what I mean? With Will Bronson. It's really trying to, you know what I mean? It's really trying to pull off what he's asking because I know I'm a creator of the level to pull it off. Even though I'm fighting to understand it. And again, I'm flushing out some with everybody here at No Ceilings. I'm flushing out how would I do it, you know what I mean, without compromising the brilliance of the art. Like I'm not for any compromise. Shout out to Name Brand who makes a good point. Like when I made that good, I still made it the way that I make records.
Yeah.
Like I still did it being me because I am that dynamic. But you know, I don't know if I should go back in and change like part of the raps. I think if I produce it, if I use some breaks, like if I use some certain things. And another thing is like I've always said this, like a lot of artists who use the lyrics to really define theme, and that's their main point. And if I ever had a critique, let's say on Good Kid versus GNX, that I enjoy GNX more is on Good Kid, the lyrics, you know what I mean, create the theme too much. So it could come across preachy versus GNX, where the music is defining the theme as much as what he's saying. So you're not lost or it doesn't come across over preachy.
Sure. And I think this bridge here between, you know, these two kind of general concepts, that's what I thought he did so well on Not Like Us. Was he like he's, you know, like an intellectuals type of rapper, you know what I mean? He's not YG. But he came up with a song and delivered it in a way that hit like a YG song with Kendrick content, you know? And that really, I thought, made that hit a lot differently than like, say, like Swimming Pools or something like that just didn't feel like it had anything in there, to me anyway.
Yeah, no. Hey Sherry, what's going on? Shout out to P from Twitter. He said, if someone else besides Drake said the line, would you people interpret the lines the same? It would be corny no matter who said it.
Which line is he talking about?
The specific one where he was insinuating to leak LeBron's secret publicly.
Oh.
To the secrets he know would ruin his image. And it's like, if you say that like about somebody not in rap, it would be corny if Jay-Z said it. Like there was things Jay-Z did in the battle with him and Nas by the time it got to the third verse that kind of people didn't think was culturally, the culture didn't think was cool. People looked at it. I remember I'm a Jay fan hard. And I thought about that, you know what I mean? Like in that battle when he was talking about sleeping, he left condom on a baby seat. There were things that culturally was like, probably shouldn't have said that.
There's one guy who can pull that particular move off.
Gucci.
Was it Cat Williams? He's the only person that can air people out and not make it come off like he's social snitching on them. But he does it in the framework of being like, this is party to a massive black curtain conspiracy of, you know, power play type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Shout out to Specs Vision. Much love, bro. Welcome to the lunch table. Hell yeah. I finally caught it live. Longer time. Apple Podcast listener. Much love, brother. And I try to make sure like I keep y'all with fresh content. A new episode dropping tomorrow with me and Pete having some dope conversation. Yes, Pete. Yes, Pete. It would be corny no matter who said it. It would be uncultural. Like you don't threaten to
it's more corny than threatening to go to the cops. It's like I'm threatening to go to Twitter.
Yeah.
Fucking Christ.
Shout out to Revenge. I don't know. This is what Revenge says. I don't know. I think he was more trying to get LeBron to understand how severe it was. And if he protect the LeBron public image, that man just hurt for hurting his feelings. Yeah, but you could tell him that on the phone, right? You could say, hey, man, you hurt my feelings on the phone. Like you could say you would hurt my feelings on the phone. Even, like as a man, bro, like he could have squabbled cuz. Like he could have said, hey, man, I'm really, I get it. Like I'm not saying LeBron didn't do something that could have hurt cuz feelings. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the depth of their friendship, but you got a tattoo of cuz, so it gotta be some level. I would like to believe, cuz you ain't gonna get no tattoo of no man if y'all not really like, I don't know. It's a different day, but I have to believe that they're friends.
I would never get a tattoo on me of a man that I had met in real life.
I mean,
that's something you have to do something like,
that's
I admire this guy from
somebody
afar,
I met it
very afar.
Especially that's somebody my age and I met them in my 20s. But I don't even want to get into that. That's not what I'm getting into. Just the thought. Revenge, what cuz could have did was call him and say, hey man, what you did bothered me. Like we should squabble it out. Like let's go get in some boxing gloves. I'm not a fan of what you did. We need to solve this problem. Or even talking to him and saying, hey man, this is what's bothering me, versus making a song about it. And then your threat to him is, hey, I will tell your dirty secrets. And you're not like, it's not him. It's just corny, period. It's not cool. Remember, hip hop is hip.
Yeah.
Hip hop is hip. You know what I'm saying? Like hip hop is hip. Like it's about being cool. And that's just not cool. It's just fucking weird. Like,
you know what it sounds like tantamount to? And this is a pretty crude example, but during the back and forth between Eazy-E and Dre, it would be like as if like the line that you don't cross, if hypothetically it was known, it would be like Dre, instead of showing him homeless, rapping for change on the side of the freeway on-ramp at the 710 or whatever it was, it would be like more so, I'm going to air out that you infected on this song. Like that's where you don't go and it's no longer cool and you're now just a punk ass person. You know what I mean?
Shout out to V. What's up, V? Welcome back to the lunch table. My man always cooking up the meals right here. So Glasses, if Drake paid you to be the head of his PR team, would you help get his career back on track? I don't think it's publicity that Drake's needs, man. I don't think it's publicity.
It's brand management through his actions.
He needs more like, that's the exact word. Brand management. Hold on one second. Brand management.
Oh, God damn it. Now I got a filibuster for an indefinite period of time. This is going to ruin the show and your reputation. Fortunately, all I had to say was that before you came back.
Yeah, no, I think he needs like somebody needs to be in the war room with him saying like, hey, bro, like this not cool. And it's hard to tell somebody who's made, hundreds of millions of dollars what's not cool.
Yeah.
Like it's a real tough act to tell somebody that's made, but I genuinely think that's what Birdman used to do. That's what Wayne used to do. That's what Cortez used to do. That's what Slim used to do. That's what Jay Prince used to do. That's what Jazz. That's what the team used to do. They used to kind of coach him and kind of be the buffer between him and silliness. So I think it's more like a brand thing for him. I don't think it's publicity. I don't think you could change the narrative on some of this stuff. It's just somebody should have been in there that day and said, hey, man, that ain't player.
Sure. And I feel like he got kind of, I don't know if it's lucky, but there's a word that probably encompasses the fact that for a period of time, he was like kind of encroaching into a space he shouldn't have probably been, and doing so on tracks that had other people who resided comfortably in that space, i.e. Future, you know?
Sure. Shout out to Revenge. He said, what Kendrick say? The 7.62 will make him plank peekaboo. He said, I'm not fighting LeBron. I'm not fighting you, Glasses. You ain't been a professional athlete for 20 years. I would have said nothing at all. Just because he been a professional athlete don't mean Drake can't punch on Bron, bro. He still might win. You know, he still might get his point across. It's a fight. It's not impossible. If they both put on boxing gloves, he might win. But at least you get to take out your anger if you don't want to talk to him. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to talk to him. You know what I mean? If you don't want to talk to him. But I think it's just weird to say, hey, I'm going to tell your wife you cheated, or I'm going to say things that happen to you to ruin your brand. It's just lame. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. That's why it's hard for the concept of highbrow, lowbrow hip hop. You know what I'm saying? It's really more about culture. Like, and so it's how do I put the culture in? That's the job. And that's what I have to remember as I approach what I'm doing, right? Is making sure that I'm able to convey the attitude of the culture in these specific moments. You know what I mean? And some things are easier, like as a Crip, like, right? It's like, if I say cuz, that's the simplest way for you to know I'm a Crip. Or if I wear a paisley bandana, a blue paisley bandana, you can know I'm a Crip, right? Versus me saying, hey, you know, yeah, that's the challenge. That's the challenge. You know what I'm saying? And I see what I have to do. Yeah. All right, we're finna get up out of here.
Hear you, feel you challenge. You know what I mean?
No Ceilings Live, the lunch hour. Thank y'all for stopping by every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Pacific Standard Time. Click that thumbs up button before you get out. New episode of No Ceilings dropping tomorrow. Apple Podcasts, iHeart Podcasts, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Okay, hold on before I jet out. Let's back up. Y'all still want to talk. Shout out to Rio again. What is hip hop culture and who or what dictates that? Especially hip hop has gone worldwide. So hip hop as the art has been purchased worldwide. It's still not a worldwide thing. The culture of it is still not a worldwide thing. The art of it is being purchased.
The mango can be consumed anywhere. The tree is still planted where it stands.
There you go. Like, everybody buy cocaine, but it's only so many poppy fields or coca plants.
Coca fields, yeah.
Yeah, you can't grow the coca plants. Poppy fields is for heroin. Hip hop culture is street urban culture. That's what hip hop culture is. And it depends on the land itself, and culture only grows in certain environments. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like if you had a greenhouse, you could grow enough coca plants, but you probably couldn't grow enough to make a kilo of cocaine.
Sure. That's funny. I had a movie idea because it's really hard. Like, I've never realized that. It seems very hard to like get a coca seed, you know? And the movie would be about this group of guys from America that are like techie, but also kind of gangster. And they actually try to go on this like Navy SEAL like mission to like sneak in, grab some shit, and then go back and be able to grow hydroponic cocaine like with a really rapid turnover time frame. You know what I mean?
Crying. That sounds funny. So the culture right there dictates that. And if you notice, it's pretty much ghetto culture, right? And it's like most ghettos agree on pretty much most things. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like some simple things. So it's pretty simple. Shout out to Mario. Welcome back to the lunch table, my boy. Why don't we accept that it might be his real feelings? I think it is his real feelings.
That's what's so concerning.
Isn't that an essence of hip hop? No, that's not an essence of hip hop. It has nothing to do with hip hop. Your real feelings are just your real feelings. Everybody has real feelings. Sharing your experiences and feelings on real topics? No, it's sharing the cultural experience.
That's the my versus our dilemma.
Yeah, it's our versus mine's, like Pete keeps saying. It's we versus me. Shout out to P. Who do you think holds more responsibility in the understanding of a message, the speaker or the listener? If you're speaking to someone, the listener, right? Who do you think holds more responsibility in the understanding? The speaker, right? Because your job, if I'm talking to a kid and I don't want this kid to let's say the kid is running out in the streets and I want that kid to get hit by a car. That's my job if I'm speaking to that kid to not get hit by that car. So my job is to convey the message so this kid doesn't get hit by the car. So the burden of responsibility falls on me because this kid may be a little too ignorant to understand that they could be hit by a car.
Yeah, like you're active and they're passive in the relationship. It would be like similar to like if you were in like a martial arts scenario with like your instructor and he's, throwing dummy shots at you. It's on him not to take your fucking head off because he's the one throwing the dummy shots. You're
to know that you can't, you can't defend. You're not prepared. You're not ready. Shout out to Specs Vision. Once again, brother, welcome to the lunch table. Thank you for the support of the podcast for that long time. It means a lot to us. If Drake goes 100% R&B or whatever Chris Brown does, do you think he would be redeemed? I think Drake doesn't need redemption, right? I think he just needs to focus on making music and, you know what I mean? And I don't know, man. He's in a really bad spot, man. He don't have buffers between him and culture. You know what I mean? And he's going to keep crashing himself. Yeah. So I don't know if anything, like he has an album with Party Next Door right now. I would imagine that's some level of R&B, but he's dropping songs with Conductor where he's threatening an NBA player, hey, I'm going to air out your secrets because I don't like you enjoying this music as a friend of mine. It's just weird.
He needs to commit to a project that is like the Revenge of the Nerds mixtape where he themes it off that old 1980s movie and he is the nerds and they're coming back for their revenge and everyone gets it's a joke and a shtick and it just is what it is.
Shout out to Rio. So when New York wouldn't accept West and South music, does that mean they weren't part of the culture until NY finally accepted them? No, that's when NY culture finally accepted them, street urban culture, the father of how to express ourselves artistically. But no, the street urban culture was pretty much dominant and we voted for it ourselves. But I don't think it's about accepting. I don't think Drake needed to be accepted into anything. I think Drake was a really talented artist who makes music. I don't think he needs to be accepted into anything. I think his premise is where we're talking about when we're talking hip hop.
Here's a question to kind of expand upon that point. Because again, I don't know that he was. I mean, he wasn't accepted into the. He was accepted insofar as he made songs that people liked. It's not quite the same thing. So, like, can you just be like, look, I'm not part of this whole scene, but I'm making some songs and you like them and that's cool and that's good enough. Is there space for that?
Post Malone did that exact thing.
That's kind of what I was thinking as I was saying
he's hella successful.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kingdom United TV. Welcome to the lunch table. Peace Glasses. You remember a song, Gassing, you hopped on with my artist Benji Bucks in 2013. I remember that song, oddly. Yes, I do. Mario Paulo. Wasn't that the premise of NWA, their thoughts on the system and the effects it had on them? No, that was the thoughts of the system on Compton.
Yeah.
At them as being functional members of Compton. Remember, Ice Cube, is not even from Compton, but he knew he was speaking for the people of Compton. So it's not them, it's them within the functioning body of we.
And again, like even like Fuck the Police was, I don't think that those guys had been getting the shit beaten out of them and tased like all hell by the police every goddamn day. It was a matter of the community in large.
Yeah. Shout out to Harlem on the Rise. Much love, Brody. Yeah, I noticed people thought it was cool. He was talking about snitching on LeBron, but it's only because people hate LeBron too, because he's at the top and his image. Very OVO and the fan base are some busters.
There's a lot of commonality.
It's very weird. You know what I mean? Like, just weird. But again, that's what I'm saying. Like, culturally, that's uncool in any street urban culture around the country.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a standard. Like, you don't, nobody would think it's cool if you were like, hey, I'm going to tell your dirty secret. Now, again, in the battle, that's you guys battling. He's not battling LeBron James, bro.
Yeah. This would be like he does this to LeBron, right? And it goes make this a public threat against LeBron James. It could cost him, in theory, tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Well, LeBron doesn't make music. So how would you feel about LeBron if his clapback was, I'm going to go to the FBI for blackmail? Because that's what it would be.
That's a good point. That's a great point. All right, we out of here, man. Much love to everybody, man. We'll see y'all soon. See y'all Wednesday at noon.